Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Back with another Facebook Live. We're going to start doing these again on a weekly basis to go through the different kind of issues that are presented to our patients. So some of it may be either to do with conditions, sometimes it can be to do with general questions and queries, or even just questions that are posed to us on a regular basis by either the public or by our patients as well. Today what we're going to be doing is talking about vertigo and how vertigo is actually something that we see quite commonly in chiropractic, especially in upper cervical practices like we have here at Vitality Chiropractic. The reason for this is, especially as upper cervical chiropractors, we focus just on the top bones in the top of the neck. And the reason for this is that in those bones we have an area which is called the brainstem. And this is the lower part of the brainstem, and your brainstem is a control center between the brain and the body. So I can show you, we have a model here, and it gives more of an idea of what's happening. So of course we all know that the brain is controlling everything that's happening within our body. Our brain is controlling every single movement, say of my hands right now. It controls digestion of breakfast and your lunch. It controls every healing aspect you have. It even is going to be controlling all those other cellular changes going on. All the information has to go from the brain. It goes down to this area here, which sits in those bones. This is called the brainstem, and it travels down to the rest of the body. So the brainstem is very important because it is essentially a relay center. All the information for the brain has to go here before it starts to get to every other part of the body. And it's the same vice versa. If something's coming from the body, it has to go to that brainstem before getting to the correct part of the brain. Because logically speaking, if something is coming from, say, your stomach, but it goes to the part of the brain that's supposed to be for your leg, it's going to create some problems and potentially confusion, and even maybe some symptoms or some level of disease within the body as well, if there is this crossing of wires, so to speak, within the body. As well as being a relay center for the body, the brainstem has a very high concentration of nerves, which also includes control centers. And this affects areas such as your breathing, your heart rate, immunity, digestion, your cranial nerves, and the balance centers. So if there is some level of misalignment in those bones, if instead of everything lining up nice like this, we start to get some level of misalignment and that hole starts to get a bit smaller, it means that it's going to start to affect how those nerves are working, including the ones that are either supposed to be relayed between the brain and the body, which may affect something lower down, such as, say, digestion, or it can start to affect those control centers, such as those for the cranial nerves and for balance. So for many patients, if there is this compression of that area, it's going to start to affect those nerves, affects the balance centers, and they may start to feel either this dizziness, this giddiness, or even potentially bouts of vertigo as well. Now, of course, I'm not going to say that this is the only way that someone could have vertigo. There are many other different types. There can be vestibular vertigo. There can be other reasons for it. It can even be reasons which are being affected by, say, medications or even by certain types of bacterial infections. However, this is why in our practice we take a special type of nerve scan to see if there is some level of nerve interference. If there is, then it may be that this is what's causing and contributing more to that particular case of vertigo or dizziness. But this is why it's always important to run these tests and to have a full consultation to find out more about that case. One thing we see a lot with our patients as well who do have a history of dizziness is that in the past they may have had some level of injury to the head or to the neck. And that may be one of the reasons why this all gets kicked off. It's very common that this may have happened a long time before. There's a condition called Meniere's disease we see with a number of our patients. Meniere's disease is a problem with the inner ear. And a lot of the times, again, it has this referral system between what's happening at that brainstem level and how that starts to affect the inner ear and the imbalancing of the liquid in that area. For these people that experience things like dizziness and vertigo, as well as changes in their hearing loss, they may start to have other associated symptoms as well, such as a fullness of the ear and this kind of general discomfort with that area. And they may even get tension around the muscles of the shoulder, the neck, and even down to the jaw as well. For these people, like I said, it can be linked to what's happening at that top level. And when we were looking at the research, what the research shows is that 80% or more of them, as far as we can tell, had some sort of injury in the past. And the average time between that injury and actually having symptoms is 15 years. And it's not just for Meniere's disease, it can be for other types of vertigo and dizziness as well, where there's been some sort of injury or accident in the past, and then over time, eventually it starts to affect the nerves. And the reason for this is because the nerves in the body, there are essentially two different types. There are the ones we can feel and sense, and there's the ones that are running all the things in the background which we can't feel and sense. Things controlling digestion, heart rate, breathing, all of the things we don't need to control within the body, but the body is always automatically controlling for us. So it can be that it starts to have some of the effects on those other nerves before affecting some of the ones we can feel. And that's somehow where there can be this kind of, as we call, asymptomatic start before actually causing the issues that many vertigo sufferers are going to be experiencing. So if you have any questions about vertigo, about a particular case for yourself, a loved one, or anything else within these cases, you can always put it in the comments, or you can send us a message at help@vitalitychiropracticcentres.com, or give a call at 8438-9550, and I can arrange a complimentary call to discuss your cases and see if this is something that we or one of my other colleagues would be able to help you with. Have a great day, everybody.